Thank you. You may be seated. Your Excellencies here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my name is Godwin Ichimi. I am an associate professor in this institute. I have the singular honor and privilege to welcome you to the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, to welcome you what promises to be a marking of one of the most historic moments in the annals of the history of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, indeed, of the whole of West Africa. Your Excellencies here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today, you will be witnessing one of the series of events that is earmarked to mark the symbolic reenactment of one of the most important events that has taken place in the history of Africa and that of Western Africa. This is a conference, an international conference on ECOWAS at 50, a story of resilience and integration. It is made possible by the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in association with the Konrad Adenauer Fund of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this conference will enable us an opportunity to see the entire historic landmark in ECOWAS, and of course, an opportunity to see history as it unfolds. I know that the moment I mention history, all eyes turned to the high table, where we see legends, living legends. Gentlemen, may I begin by acknowledging the presence amongst us of His Excellency, the Chairman of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, His Excellency, Prince Professor Sir Bolaji Akinyemi, CFR. Former Minister of External Affairs, Director General of this prestigious institute, and currently serving this country in the capacity as Chairman of the Governing Council of this institute. The living legend sitting next to him, I will reserve for last. I believe in keeping the best for last. Next to the living legend in the August gathering, Professor Egosa Osagai, Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Those who are given to protocol will now begin to count my sins against me because I am not going about it in the order of protocol, but it is deliberate, as you will soon find out. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I must begin, or continue rather, with a very important personality in our midst, because he represents a country from which Nigeria has a lot of friends. The organization partnering with the Institute today also is from that country. Please join me to appreciate and welcome the Consul General of Germany to Lagos. His Excellency, please be recognized. I will have so much to say about His Excellency in a moment. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to please appreciate in more ways than one this Consul General, Wet Bona, His Excellency, from which this institute has received so many support. Please, another round of applause for him. Seated very close to him is the resident representative of Konrad Adenauer Stephen, CAS for short. We have many, many good memories and sentiments to express about this resident representative. Again, we will share that on the sideline. Please appreciate Maria Perran. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I retract now back to the conventional protocolar process. Let me recognize the presence in our midst of the host in this state of excellence, a friend of the Institute even in his personal capacity. I am referring to the Executive Governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, CON, ably represented here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, by Barrister Bimbola Salu Hayodin, the Secretary to the State Government of Lagos. Madam, you are welcome to the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have here also another friend of the Institute, Prince Adewale Adebayo, former presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party. You are welcome, Prince. Here in this gathering are people that have cut their mark across various fields of human endeavor. As the program progresses, we shall be identifying and recognizing each and every one of them. However, at this point, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to recognize the presence of an eminent personality here amongst us. His Excellency, Major General Retired, Ike Nwachukwu, multiple-time minister in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former chairman of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Your Excellency, you are welcome to the NIA. Many of us were not surprised when you came in. I wonder why the title retired is always added to your name. I will move a motion at the end of session, DG sir, to have retired expunged from that title. You are welcome, Your Excellency. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, because the business of the day is very extensive, I will be taking recognitions in batches. I crave your indulgence. At this point, I'd like to introduce the living legend himself. Right. This father of modern Nigeria, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, needs no introduction in this country. His Excellency General Yakubu Gowon, sir. Excellency General Yakubu Gowon, sir. You would notice that I am breaching protocol left, right, and center, and like I said, it is deliberate. At the end of the occasion, you may have to write a letter of plea to my DG so that I don't get a query. My promotion is on the way, and I'm very worried. I do this because sometimes it is good to not merge special people with, quote and unquote, the crowd. I have a special place in my heart for the mothers of this country. I want to begin by acknowledging in our presence Her Royal Highness Erulu Dosumu Abiola. Please be recognized, Mommy. Another special mother of the day, without which I want to apologize before saying, His Excellency the Consul General of Germany may not be looking as bright as he is doing this morning. Please join me to welcome his lovely wife that has accompanied him to this event. Madam, Your Excellency, please be appreciated and welcome. There are here eminent professors and scholars from different fields related one way or the other to our historic experience about ECOWAS. We have former Director Generals of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in our presence. We have retired and serving ambassadors in various capacities across the globe. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we would be recognizing each and every one of these distinguished personalities as we proceed. At this point, however, let me simply ask for a general, robust applause for all, one and all here present. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I would like to invite to the podium for an opening and a welcome remark the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Professor Egosa Osagai. DG, sir, the podium is yours.
Your Excellency, General Yakubu Gowon, GCFR, former Head of State and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a man that you all know became Go On With One Nigeria, Go On. What is not so well known is that he's also Go On With One West Africa. That is what we are enacting today. Your Excellency, the chairman of this occasion, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, chairman of the Council of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, ably represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Your Excellency, the Consular General of Germany to Nigeria in Lagos, Your Excellencies, my Lord, the Royal Highness Erelu Dosumu, my Lord, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, General Ike Nwachukwu, my Lords, the distinguished professors who are here, my Lord, Prince Adewale Adebayo, Your Excellency, my Lord, Chief Anyam Osigwe, my Lord, Otumba Omoba Victor Adetula, Your Excellency, Maria Peran, the Resident Director of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, Your Excellency, Professor Adile Jinodu, and all the other eminent Nigerians who are here. It's a day of great joy for us at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs to welcome such a large assembly of eminent and distinguished people. We also have here from across West Africa, our colleague professors from Sierra Leone and from Ghana and from La Côte d'Ivoire. We are very privileged to be playing host to this. Now, today for us marks the first in the series of events that are planned to celebrate ECOWAS at 50. This is the academic arm of that celebration. Hopefully, through the engine room of the presentations that will be made at this conference, the NIA and the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung will publish the most authoritative volume on ECOWAS at 50. And I'd like for all of you to put on your thinking caps as we go today and tomorrow. Now, this is the academic arm. Next week, the 28th of May, precisely, would be the bigger event, which is the grand celebration of ECOWAS at 50 that will bring together in this same venue 12 heads of state and government across West Africa. Now, why are we doing this at the NIIA? It is a symbolic reenactment of the historical signing of the ECOWAS Treaty on the 28th of May, 1975 in Lagos. The NIIA is playing host because it played a very pivotal role in the process that led up to the signing of that treaty. So you're all part of the history of ECOWAS. Now, ECOWAS has, over the last 50 years, proven itself to be perhaps the most successful model for regional integration in the global south. ECOWAS has been packed full by all of the things that have made ECOWAS so resilient and so powerful. You know, of course, that we all remember that sometime in 1989, 1990, the world was in the throes of the kinds of marginalization that is now common with affairs of Africa and the global south. We had the eruptions in Liberia, and the world looked the other way. And there was everything to suggest that that was going to take a different shape and dynamic that may have consumed the whole of West Africa. So ECOWAS took the initiative, and that's the first peacekeeping force that was set up, established through local sources. Set the pace for what today is called the African solution to African problems. And that's one of the distinctions of ECOWAS. Now it's spread beyond there. ECOMOG had other operations in Sierra Leone and in several other countries. Today, the region has become more secure than it ever was. ECOWAS has also become something that economic integration alone has not been able to accommodate. And so ECOWAS has gone, as the world has moved on into the realms of good governance and constitutionalism, and the things that will make all of us citizens of very good countries that are member states of ECOWAS. Now, ECOWAS has a protocol for free movement of persons and goods across West Africa. And this has become one of the engine rooms for the African Continental Free Trade Framework that the whole world is now reaping from. And I'm happy to report that for the first time in a long while, Nigeria has now the trading figures that suggest that Africa might yet become the strongest trading partner for our country. Now, ECOWAS has therefore reproduced itself in the successes that we have witnessed across the whole of Africa. Whether it is IGAD or it is SADC that has moved into Somalia or into Congo or wherever, all of this because ECOWAS showed it could be done, and it was done. Finds itself and is rhythm. So that is wonderful. I congratulate all of us at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, the directors. I congratulate our ambassadors who are here. I congratulate all of the eggheads. I congratulate the distinguished gentlemen of the press and the ladies, of course. I welcome our security agents and the head of the Civil Defense Corps of Nigeria, National Agency. And I thank everyone for coming. There will be time for the vote of thanks, but I just thought that you should have a good welcome. Over the next 2 days, we're going to have presentations by the very best of the best, the professors that have been carefully chosen to tell us about ECOWAS and X-Raid. At this time, ECOWAS faces very serious challenges, and there are those who think that all is not right with ECOWAS. You may be right to think so. But think what would happen if an organization had it so smooth all around. It would not build the capacity for resilience. And ECOWAS has been challenged. We are very sure that by the time ECOWAS is 60, all of these problems that presently beset the organization would have been put behind. And therefore, you yourselves will remember that you were part of the history of not just restoration, not just stability, but an ECOWAS that has its eyes to the future, an ECOWAS that will make West Africa great again. And most of all, it is happening at a time when the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is chair of the ECOWAS. So this is great celebration for us, and I am sure that you would all contribute to a wonderful conference. The sessions are open, and we'll welcome all of the interventions that you would have. Baba, that is your new title today. Professor Ichimi has said, I heard Baba say, well, I thought that was for Baba Olusegun Obasanjo. But the truth is that you have earned it, you have always been Baba, and today you are Baba. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Director General, sir. With your kind permission, I'd like to let out a secret about Baba. He has not always been Baba. He was Yoppie at one point. I shared with him while he was waiting that several years ago, when I was barely bigger than a toddler, he and Mama Victoria did a road show in Kaduna. And after that road show, every woman, every young lady adopted the hairstyle of Mama Victoria Gowon at that point. And you only needed to see Baba at that time. My late father, God bless his soul, had a very big enlarged picture of that ceremony, and that is why I remember it for what it is. So Baba today, but yesterday, a very Yoppie youth. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite to the podium for a remark somebody the Institute thinks of very warmly. And at this point, Your Excellency, the Consul General of Germany, Your Excellency Bonner, you know how they refer to your country as the German machine. Well, our sister, Her Excellency Maria Perran, and her team are working machines. They make the impossible happen. They make a lot of events, support them from the back and even from the front. And so we want to specially recognize her as I invite her to come forward and share her thoughts with us in the remark that she is about to make. Your Excellency, my sister Perran, please, the podium is yours.
Former head of state of Nigeria and founding father of ECOWAS, Your Excellency General Yakubu Gowon, the governor of Lagos State, the Center of Excellence, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, ably represented by Mrs. SSG, the former Minister of Nigeria for External Affairs and former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, the Consul General of the German Consulate General to Lagos, His Excellency Red Berner, the Acting Consul General of the US Consulate General to Lagos, His Excellency Joe Allen Gorg, the Commercial Counselor of the Austrian Embassy, His Excellency Barbara Leninger, the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, Prof. Egosa Osagae, my friend, and the Chief Security Host, the Commandant General of the NSCDC, Professor Dr. Abubakar Audi. And let me also recognize the DG Bureau of Public Service Reforms, Dr. Arabi, all excellencies, dignitaries, professors, and distinguished participants present here today. And of course, also Prince Adewale Adebayo, former presidential candidate of the SDP, directors of the NIIA, esteemed resource persons, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is with very great pleasure that I welcome you on behalf of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung to this pivotal conference organized jointly with the NIIA, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the creation of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and deliberate on all of its achievements. The Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, which in short we call KAS or Konrad, is a German political foundation affiliated with the political party of former Chancellor Angela Merkel and the new and current Chancellor in Germany, Friedrich Merz. We are dedicated to promoting democracy, peace, and sustainable development. The mandate of KAS includes fostering political education, supporting democratic governance, strengthening international relations with our host country in about 100 states worldwide, and advancing economic and social policies that uphold freedom and justice for all. We are fully funded by the German federal government and thus part of the official German international cooperation system. We gather here today in solemn reflection and joyous celebration, commemorating 5 decades of an extraordinary regional experiment that has shaped the trajectory of West Africa's history. And at the heart of this pioneering vision stands a statesman whose commitment to Pan-Africanism and regional cohesion remains undiminished. His Excellency General Yakubu Gowon. Your Excellency, it is a pleasure to have you with us here today. It is thus very fitting that the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung is cooperating with NIIA to host this conference. Our organization is named after Konrad Adenauer, the first chancellor in Germany after World War II, when Europe was in shambles. Konrad Adenauer himself is one of the founding fathers of the European Union, a successful supranational political and economic union with characteristics of both a federation and a confederation. So the European Union, EU, and ECOWAS share a foundational commitment to regional integration, economic cooperation, and political stability, each striving to harmonize policies among member states while fostering collective prosperity. Just like creating the EU, creating ECOWAS was visionary and groundbreaking. And in the annals of this region's collective history, the establishment of ECOWAS in 1975 was not merely an act of diplomacy. It was an assertion of sovereignty, a proclamation of unity, and a bold step towards economic emancipation. From its inception, ECOWAS has embodied the aspirations of a people determined to harness their shared destinies in pursuit of integration, peace, and sustainable development. Under Gowon's stewardship and the vision of the founding fathers, ECOWAS embarked on a transformative mission, one that has borne remarkable fruits. We have witnessed strides in trade liberalization, the facilitation of free movement, the strengthening of democratic governance, and robust peacekeeping interventions that have already been mentioned today and that have safeguarded stability in member states. ECOWAS has stood as a pillar against political instability, deploying forces to troubled nations and providing mediation in times of democratic uncertainty. The resilience of ECOWAS has been tested, but it was never broken. Yet, while we celebrate all the milestones, we must also confront the challenges that persist. Economic asymmetry between nations threatens the principles of equitable growth. The elusive dream of a single currency remains hampered by structural hurdles. Political instability and unconstitutional changes of government continue to test the democratic fabric of ECOWAS. And perhaps most pressing, the scourge of insecurity, terrorism, insurgency, and transnational organized crime casts a long shadow over the collective progress. In this defining moment, let us invoke the spirit of the founding fathers, not merely in reverence, but in renewed purpose. The next 50 years should be defined by deeper economic integration, reinforced political cohesion, and an unwavering commitment to security and prosperity for every West African citizen. Let us share the same commitment to the idea and ideals of ECOWAS as when in the early and mid-70s, His Excellency Yakubu Gowon and Togolese President Eyadema not only issued a joint communiqué that laid the foundation for ECOWAS, but also toured the whole of West African nations to promote the idea of regional integration and later convened meetings that ultimately led to the drafting of the ECOWAS Treaty. And it is, as we heard, in this auditorium where then history was made, where the Treaty of Lagos was signed on May 28 in 1975, establishing ECOWAS. General Gowon, we honor your vision, your sacrifice, and your relentless advocacy for unity. Your legacy is not just etched in history, but lives on in the aspirations of generations who now stand on the foundation that you helped build. May ECOWAS continue to rise to its highest potential, and may your indomitable spirit of leadership guide the path forward. Before I close, let me use this opportunity to say thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you to our partner, the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, NIA, for our ongoing collaboration and for so strongly advocating diplomacy as well as Nigeria's role in the region. This conference has been born out of many interesting discussions and meetings we had. And I want to especially thank the DG, Prof. Osagai, for your trailblazing and visionary leadership. We are very grateful to be collaborating with your institute. I especially want to thank the man of the day, His Excellency Yakubu Gowon, who made all the way to Abuja to join us today. We're very grateful and are touched by your continuous commitment towards unity and regional integration. I also want to thank the Governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for taking the time to grant this and visit this extraordinary event, bearing witness to the achievements not only of ECOWAS, but also of Nigeria within ECOWAS. We are remembering a forever historic event that happened in your state and that forever changed the trajectory of West Africa. I further want to thank all representatives from the diplomatic community present, and especially the German General Consul, Your Excellency Bert Börner. As CAS, we are very grateful for your continuous support, bringing the spirit of cooperation to life. But I also want to thank you even more for your dedication towards strengthening the ties between our two beautiful nations, Nigeria and Germany. And let me emphasize that over the past 5 decades, Germany has been a steadfast partner of ECOWAS' pursuit of regional stability, economic integration, and sustainable development. Through substantial financial and technical cooperation, Germany has supported peace-building initiatives, crisis prevention mechanisms, as well as democratic transitions within the region, and has also strengthened ECOWAS institutional capacity. Additionally, Germany has played a pivotal role in fostering economic growth by facilitating trade partnerships, supporting infrastructure development, and advancing renewable energy projects. Germany remains a crucial ally, reinforcing the bloc's resilience and commitment to regional prosperity. And might I add, and we heard this, the Berlin Senate, the Parliament of Berlin, has donated these chambers. So this is a full circle for the Nigerian-German ECOWAS friendship. Let me also thank Commandant General Dr. Audi for keeping us safe today, but also for granting us with his presence. We have been long friends and partners, the NSCDC and CAS, so we're grateful to have you here. And last but certainly not least, I want to thank all professors and representatives of the academic field and our carefully selected resource persons, some of whom we've been collaborating for many, many years. We are honored to have you with us, and your contribution to the success of this conference is highly appreciated. Now, once more, thank you all, and I look forward to a productive and inspiring conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Perrin. I want to request the kind permission Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I made but fleeting reference to a few personalities in our midst today. May I give it some substance, please? By recognizing specially a former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, under whose stewardship this institute made very, very momentous progress. Your Excellencies here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor Bola Akinterewa. I thought the applause from the NIA in the house would be louder than that. Thank you, DG, sir. I recognize also somebody whose contribution to the Federal Republic of Nigeria in various spheres is very, very heartwarming. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Ambassador Laiwala Lasende, Your Excellency, please be recognized. I must recognize also another friend of the Institute and of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the United States of America, represented here by the United States Embassy officials. Please be recognized, madam. Thank you very much. The chairman, sir, may I respectfully request that you grant me permission to slightly vary an item on the program for just 2 or 3 minutes, Your Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite to the podium to share his thoughts with us Prince Adebayo Adewale, former, I'm so used to former today, presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the last election, and a benefactor of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in many respects. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, if you look outside through this window, you will see an edifice. This was single-handedly donated to the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs by Prince Adebayo. This is just one of the many projects and supports that we have enjoyed from this illustrious son of Nigeria. Beyond that, however, the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs has benefited immensely from his thoughts with us on democracy and public policy. Sir, please share your thoughts with us for a few minutes. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, General Yakubu Gowon, GCFR, the founding chairman of ECOWAS, and the father of New Nigeria. Your Excellency, the Director General, Your Excellency, the former ministers of Foreign Affairs and External Affairs, past DGs, members of the intellectual community and the diplomatic community. You will forgive me, I have just a few moments and I don't want to invest all of that in protocol. And well, it's a great thing to be here because it shows that there's continuity. And let me assure you, I belong to the new breed of politicians who behave well. we don't campaign in diplomatic circles, so there should be no anxiety. But I'm a child of ECOWAS. And when General Yakubu Gowon in 1975 at Lagos was talking about ECOWAS, he said, in May 1975, he said it's an inspiration for building a common aspiration of all our people, for all the things we want to achieve for ourselves. And 50 years on, I've learned a few lessons. One, if you want to work, you want to do government work, any work, do it on time. Because ECOWAS ended up to be the last act, the last major act of General Gowon, because 2 months later, a new government was formed. So imagine the general has said, well, I will do it in December. We might not have ECOWAS today. Secondly, that soldiers are very stubborn, because after Baba did ECOWAS as the last job, and then he had to be in exile, and he went to do his PhD at Warwick. In February 1984, he was to write his thesis. It shows ECOWAS, a study in political and economic integration. And he spoke extensively on how ECOWAS came to be, and we could see the scientific development of ECOWAS, that ECOWAS was not just to him a job he had to do as head of state, it was something that he created as an intellectual contribution to our organizing principles in West Africa. And when I was writing my own PhD thesis, it was in comparative study of ECOWAS and EU. I stole a lot of lines from the 636 pages of General Gowon's or Dr. Gowon's thesis, but I acknowledge them, so I don't need to be. So what is clear is that now, look at, I traveled, last week I was in Ghana. It was a very smooth thing. I do business in West Africa. I have attended ECOWAS head of state meetings. I have attended the Council of Ministers meeting in about 11 council or 12 council meetings. I was there to do the paperwork for the creation of the Conference of Chief Justices for ECOWAS. And so from the market woman in Makola Market to the intellectual writing a PhD thesis, all of us have taken lessons from what General Gowon did. And later, when there was crisis in West Africa, our military came into it to save Liberia and to save Sierra Leone. But saving Liberia and saving Sierra Leone did not just save those two countries. It warned other countries that there will be no rascality in West Africa. And even recently, when we had coups around and Nigeria said, with ECOWAS, we are going to do something about it. We did something about it because that managed the behavior of those who are operating there, knowing that there's somebody who is watching. And when United Nations and ECOWAS invited me to be a commissioner in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Liberia, I abandoned everything I was doing, and we did that work. It shows that what we have created as a community, and this is called a community for a reason, that everything we are doing, every aspiration we have, every resource we have, we put it together so that one person's problem is another person's problem. One person's tool is the other person's tool. And that now that democracy is becoming one of the aspirations of West Africa, we should not give doubt to the fact that whatever progress you make, and the witness of that will be Baba here. He was our head of state for 9 years, a military head of state. But his aspiration was that we must get back to democratic rule. And he has lived now more under democratic rule than when he was head of state. In the final analysis, what we are doing today will be that we mark 50 years, the golden jubilee of ECOWAS. What will happen? What is the ECOWAS when we are centenary of ECOWAS? It will be that we'll have a common currency, we'll have infrastructure across railroads, highways, gas pipeline, the one we are building now, a common system for transportation, a common system for telecommunication, and the ECOWAS parliament, which I've gone to see many times, will become a direct election and so many other aspirations. And I can assure Baba Gowon that even though our intention is to invite him to the 100th anniversary of ECOWAS, if he doesn't show up, his statue will be there. And the work you have done has not been forgotten. The reason why we are celebrating your coming here today was that you saw a vision, just like you saw in the NYSC, which I served. So I think it looks like all my path in life was led by General Gowon, because he created the NYSC, where many of us have has enabled us to understand our country. And he has created a West Africa for us that enable us to achieve what our leaders, Mansa Musa and so many other great leaders, thought they could only achieve by conquest. He achieved by diplomacy. And I don't want to comment too much that some of the wisest people at that time, including Leopold Sédar Senghor, thought that this was not a wise idea, that people who speak English and people who speak French, how can they be in union? Unless the people who speak French organize first, and then the people who speak English organize first. But General Gowon said, no, we are one people. And that is what came to pass. And OCAM gave way to ECOWAS. The same thing with influential leaders like Houphouët Boigny of Côte d'Ivoire. But all of us have come together now, and every Nigerian is proud of General Gowon. Every West African is proud of General Gowon. I am particularly very proud of him, and I assure him and assure our leaders that this generation, we may be playful, you may see us on social media, TikTok. We knew what happened in the past, and we know where you want us to go, and we will not deviate from it. Thank you very much. Happy anniversary.
Please, another round of applause for our prince. Quickly, I recognize the presence of the Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Dr. Ahmed Abubakar Audi, MNI OFR. I recognize also the presence of the Ghana High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mrs. Barbara Ente. Thank you very much. And of course, Austin Oko-Okopie, the Assistant Zonal Commandant of NDLE Zone 3. Please be recognized. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have in the overflow the future of our country represented in 3 secondary schools that are here with us. I will be greatly amiss if I don't recognize them. We will soon see them here in our midst. They are students from Holy Child College. Please, a round of applause for them. Methodist Boys High School, and of course, King's College, Lagos. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am inviting to the podium a quintessential diplomat. Since his arrival on our shores, the relations between our country and Germany has expanded in leaps and bounds, and we appreciate you for it, Your Excellency. I call you to the podium, Your Excellency. His Excellency, the Consul General of the German Consulate General in Lagos, His Excellency Wade Bonner. Please, you have the podium, sir.
Your Excellency General Yakubu Gowon, Your Excellency Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Honorable Representative of His Excellency Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, dear SSG Bimbola Salu Hundeyin, dear Professor Egosa Osagai, dear Maria Peran, honorable dignitaries in this room, dear deans and professors from various West African universities, honorable members of civil society, dear diplomatic colleagues, distinguished partners, and participants. Congratulations on 50 years of ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. It is a great honor to speak to you on this special occasion on behalf of the German federal government. Best regards to all of you from our new government in Berlin. I have to add, there is still one staying, Federal President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. He's not connected to parliamentary elections and a new government. He visited Nigeria in December 2024, not long ago. And he, of course, visited Abuja and Lagos, but he visited Abuja also to talk to the commissioner of ECOWAS. So there was a very high-ranking meeting recently to support ECOWAS. And the new foreign minister of the new government in Berlin, Mr. Johann Wadefuhl, will meet Nigerian Foreign Minister Tuga this week on Thursday. So we are going on with high-level meetings on our joint purposes. And I also would like to send best regards from our embassy in Abuja. It just received a new desk officer from the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development to concentrate even more on the cross-border challenges of West Africa. So it's a desk officer working in our embassy in Abuja, but concentrating on ECOWAS issues, not on bilateral issues. And most cordial congratulations to the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs and to the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung for having planned and organized this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, you can be assured that Germany and the European Union will not shy away from ECOWAS because your organization of regional integration may be in big trouble. We Europeans know how it feels when your one and only project of regional peace and development is hit heavily, not just from the outside, but from the inside. Look at the European Union after the bankruptcy of Greece causing the euro crisis in 2009. Or look at the European Union after the Brexit of the United Kingdom in 2020. Or more recently, with all the sabotaging vetoes by Hungarian Prime Minister Orban. So to say, one crisis after the other. So once again, congratulations on 50 years of ECOWAS. Thanks to ECOWAS, there has been substantial progress in regional integration. And ECOWAS also is an essential voice for democracy and peaceful political transitions in the region. However, we all know ECOWAS is under very high pressure. With Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, 3 out of 15 member states exited recently. Terrorism, banditry, and organized crime are out of control, at least in parts of the region, including even in some parts of its by far biggest member state, Nigeria. Interregional trade and investment are still much too low. Interregional trade barriers have not been further reduced in recent years. The free movement of people and goods stays limited. Most member states do not even pay the 0.5% community levy they are supposed to pay to run their regional organization secretariat. But there is one good news from the current Nigerian government. Under President Tinubu in 2024, Nigeria paid all outstaying amounts to ECOWAS, outstaying for about 19 years. So it was all paid last year. Congratulations. So there are many crises, both in the European Union and around, and in the ECOWAS, the West African integrational body, and around it. But what do our German and European interests tell us? They tell us that we have to stay fully committed to supporting regional integration in West Africa, to stay fully supporting ECOWAS. It remains also Germany's interest to address the root causes for terrorism and instability in the Sahel and to contribute to human security and economic development in the Sahel as well as in all the coastal states of West Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, currently the German federal government is supporting ECOWAS in several areas and with quite a lot of different projects, summing up to a budget of 500 million euros, not counting projects that were recently concluded. This budget also does not include our bilateral projects with member states of ECOWAS. So it's currently about 500 million euros for ECOWAS projects alone. Please allow me to mention a couple of examples out of the main areas. Area number 1, peace, stability, and good governance. We are supporting the ECOWAS Commission in mediation and crisis prevention we are offering training for peacekeeping units, both for military, police, and civil personnel. We are co-financing and offering technical support for an ECOWAS partnership for cybersecurity. We are financing several programs for enhancing stability and good governance in specifically fragile areas of the ECOWAS region. At this point, let me connect our engagement in this area with a political recommendation. Do not regard Russia under President Putin as a reliable partner on peace and stability in the region. You may be surprised that a German diplomat currently is as clear as this. But I have to tell you, Germany is in a kind of war with Russia and Europe, but it's not with the Russian people, it's with the Putin regime. So, from Russia's direct neighborhood to various parts of Africa, Putin's Russia is playing a power and resource game without any respect for the true interests of the respective country or region. The former Wagner mercenaries are now acting in several African countries, including parts of West Africa, especially Mali, as so-called Africa Corps, directly guided by the Russian Ministry of Defense in Moscow. And please, you have to show me one infrastructure project or one mining project or any Russian project in West Africa that makes sense and is for the well-being of West African people. I don't know any of it. Now, area number 2, sustainable economic development, education, especially vocational training, and creating jobs. Germany is involved in creating market-oriented value chains within the ECOWAS region by improving vocational training and job competencies according to market demands in ECOWAS member states. Together with the ECOWAS Secretariat and member states, we are focusing on regional trade in agricultural goods and on building up structures for properly implementing the AFCFTA, as was mentioned already by Professor Osaga, the Continental Free Trade Agreement for Africa. Let me just give you one concrete example. On my previous posting in Hanoi, Vietnam, I was heading the economic department of Germany's embassy in Vietnam. And I was looking at trade statistics, and I realized Vietnam is exporting much more cashew nuts than they can ever grow in their own country. So I asked my Vietnamese colleagues, are the figures wrong or what's behind it? And of course, they said, no, the figures are right, but we're importing raw cashew nuts from Nigeria and Tanzania. And this is simply wrong. You know, you have to have your own value chain with cashew nuts, and whoever is buying in the world, be it domestic or in West Africa or even beyond, it should be cashew nuts from Nigeria processed in Nigeria up to the point where the consumer really likes them and gets the full package from the West African country where they grow. The third area is energy. Germany is consulting and financing 7 regional energy infrastructure projects within ECOWAS. In addition, we are promoting a climate-friendly energy market relying on renewable energies such as solar, wind, and biomass, which at least solar and biomass, you plenty have in all of West Africa. And the fourth area of our support for ECOWAS is public health. Germany is contributing to improve the medical laboratory infrastructure and the family planning services in the ECOWAS region. Another focus is to improve HIV/AIDS prevention and, in general, the epidemiological services in order to better prevent and fight pandemics. Ladies and gentlemen, when a regional organization is in really good shape and successful, do we need such an academic conference? I would argue, yes, we always need it, but because there is this kind of ECOWAS crisis with 3 members jumping out, and because there is this high pressure on ECOWAS and on the region and its member states, this conference today and tomorrow really makes so much sense. So some of the urgent questions to you as political scientists and scientists from various other faculties are, how do you see the future development of ECOWAS? For the next 50 years, they were mentioned, there is a lot of planning and implementation that can go ahead. What do you recommend for the presence and future of the relationship between ECOWAS and the Central Sahelian states? How could a so-called peaceful coexistence, for the moment of ECOWAS and the Alliance of Sahel states look like? How can Germany, how can the European Union support peaceful and integrative processes in this region currently best? I'm sure you will find good answers today and tomorrow, and we are very interested in them. So let us all work together to create a safer and more prosperous West Africa. Long live ECOWAS. Thank you.
Another round of applause for His Excellency. Always a pleasure to listen to you, Your Excellency. Your knowledge of the Nigerian political economy is very, very heartwarming. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I got complaints from the university students that I have left them out. Particularly, I want to recognize Covenant University. Ladies and gentlemen, an applause for them. And the Vice Chancellor of Covenant University. Okay. I apologize. Vice Chancellors, please be upstanding for recognition. I apologize. I can't find the slip with your name on it. I will get to you and announce it appropriately in a short while. I apologize. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is time to listen to one of the living legends, His Excellency, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, former Minister of External Affairs, former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, currently Chairman of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Baba, could I request that you can present from... I try to play a fast one. You know, when you have many fathers, the opportunities are more, you know what I mean. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency, General Yakubu Gowon, the father of ECOWAS, the father of the gay, and the father of Nigeria. There is a proverb amongst us in Africa that both the elephant and the son of the elephant cannot crow at the same time. And since General Yakubu Gowon is going to speak to us, and I regard myself as a son of General Yakubu Gowon, I'm not going to make comments. The time that you've allocated to me as a conference chairman, I'm going to transfer to General Yakubu Gowon. So we will follow his own comment as part of my own comment. But let me make one point. This institute shares one commonality with ECOWAS. This institute is a son of a vision. When a few Nigerians, old men at that time, went to Prime Minister Balewa and proposed to him that they wanted to establish a Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, I mean, this is 2 years after Nigeria had just become independent. Prime Minister Balewa could have said, I have enough on my plate. I don't have any time for another new institution. Just as when General Gowon had this dream about cooperating with others on establishment of ECOWAS, he could have said, look, I've just had a civil war in this country. We've just succeeded in getting it right. I want to spend all my time building on that. But no, he agreed with the vision. I don't know who suggested it to him. He hasn't told us. Or whether he couldn't have sleep that night and he thought, what else will I be doing? And then that idea came to him. Approach other heads of states and have an ECOWAS. Something that somebody could have told him, cooperation between the French and the English-speaking Africans, not possible, at least not now. Where if they said it to him, he didn't buy into that. So it is this question of always having a vision. People who build nations is because they have a vision on what they want to do and not get bogged down with the nitty-gritty of problems. And the reminiscences to be given to us by General Gowon today will fill in that gap. And when you look at the history of this institute, the problems that it had for almost the first 10 years after they started it, and yet look at where we are today. There were times when suggestions were made about handing over this beautiful edifice to be used by another federal government institution. And yet the president of the day always said no, give it a chance. ECOWAS had problems. And as we've just had a historical analysis, comparative analysis, just like the EU had had problems. And yet, people who thought the problems confronting the EU would lead to disintegration of the EU have been proved wrong. And I know there have been some of my colleagues who, when we had the problems with Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, they said, this is the beginning of the disintegration of ECOWAS. And I've always just said, you think so? And yet, a few months ago, when Niger ran into trouble with oil supplies, where did he go to? He came to Nigeria. And the Nigerian government quietly, without making a noise, without making them lose face, supplied them with 300 tankers of oil, which bailed them out. What's the result, public result of that? 2 weeks ago, the visit of the Nigerian foreign minister to Niger. People you thought were enemies, here they were now, back on the brotherhood tram line. And there's no doubt in my mind, absolutely no doubt in my mind, that all these countries that you thought were turning their back on ECOWAS, you will find them in the African way of solving problems, they'll be back within the fold, the friendship fold. I am certain of that. Now, as I've said, the big elephant is not going to blow the trumpet and then have a small elephant blowing his own trumpet. The only thing I'm now going to do is to ask Ikemi, don't bother to come up. I'm going to introduce the Baba General. That will be my own job now as the baby elephant. Okay. So without much further ado, I would like to call upon the Baba Elephant, keep giving him more and more titles, General Yakubu Gowon, to please come to the podium to address us on his reminiscence about how ECOWAS was formed and everything. Sir, it's yours.
Please, why are you standing? I'm only walking to the stage. Kindly be seated. Now, if I'm to do protocol, I will probably mess it up. So please, if you will allow me to abide by the protocol already set up by the chairman as well as the Director General of NIA. But first of all, allow me, in any gathering, no matter how senior you are, you must acknowledge the chairman of the occasion, even if he's only, thank you. Well, sorry, I need an aid, just if I can read my note. You've got to introduce the chairman first before any other person in the hall. So my recognition of the chairman of the occasion, Professor Akinyemi, an extraordinary diplomat, younger diplomat that I've always respected, especially when he was the foreign minister of Nigeria. Thank you kindly. And of course, let me also acknowledge the Director General of NIIA, who is our host and using, in fact, his facility for this meeting. So let me say how happy I am to say, Your Excellencies, eminent and distinguished members of this assembly, because we had assembly here, to say thank you very much indeed, for giving me this honor. And when you say that I am Baba, are you sure that I'm the oldest man here? I'm only 90 plus a little. Am I? If there is anybody who is older than 90 or 91, I think please be upstanding so that I can recognize you in your own right. Yes, but I think we must acknowledge also all our princes and princesses here in the hall. Well, I was told, that this is a gathering to know about ECOWAS, how ECOWAS came about. But first, let me welcome you all to this international conference and ceremony of ECOWAS at 50, well, I nearly said today, on the 28th of May this year. So on this day, on the 28th of May, the Treaty of Lagos was adopted and signed by 15 or 16 members, because Mauritania was part of the family at that time. At least I know that I had visited Mauritania on a state visit, and I can remember I enjoyed the mishwi. I don't know whether you know what mishwi is. Well, those of you who know mishwi, that ram, cooked ram with couscous and delicacies, my goodness, and use your hand to enjoy it. Yes, Mauritania was part of that, of the family, but just later on, it withdrew, from the association, and so we now refer to ECOWAS as 15 member states. But I must say, on that day, 28th of May, 2025, 15 heads of states of Africa established ECOWAS. So it was really a grand occasion. And the Treaty of Lagos primarily was aimed at the objective. Aim and objective is to promote economic cooperation and integration between and among the member states, focusing on achieving the collective self-sufficiency, and improving the citizens' standard of living. So the call for ECOWAS, community of the people, was the main aim. It is community of the people, not only of its leadership. Now, the idea started immediately after the Civil War. During the Civil War, of course, we are in contact with every country throughout the world, but let us say in West Africa, trying to get them to understand the reason of our crisis and to support us to make sure that things do not go well, and that we promise that it will be conducted in the interest of the country, not for any selfish or military interest. So during that time, as we go around talking to every country, yes, what is it that we were trying to do? Yes, support us for to keep Nigeria one and united, for the good of every Nigerian, not only for any particular group. And of course, during that time, we also discussed with every country, bilateral relations, and enter into various agreements to how we can improve the trade relations and the economic relations between our two countries. And this happened to be the case right through every country that we went in West Africa. So back home, we said, now this idea of going to every country and to say thank you and to enter into bilateral relations, that is probably too tedious. Why don't we discuss within the government, that why don't we, in fact, probably organize, a community sort of interest in a gathering. And so, we said, yes, probably that would be a very good idea. But of course, we've got to then consult some of the, one of the leadership of, in West Africa. And of course, so during our visit to Eyadema of Togo, we entered into this agreement and we broached this particular idea that we have from Nigeria. And of course, Eyadema fully agreed with it. And so we said, well, if that is the case, I think he should work on the countries, French-speaking countries, and probably other Portuguese or Spanish countries. And I will work on some of the Nigerian, the English, sort of English-speaking countries. And that was how we started it. And of course, I also got in touch with some of the French-speaking countries around our borders. And one of the first things I did when I became head of state was to start a new, a visit called Know Your Neighbor visit to ensure them of our good relations, and to be able to ask for their support, so that at least if you have friendly neighbors, I think they can help you to make sure that you do not do anything that no problem can come through their country. But unlike what is happening today, that is another. So as a result of that, we got our Minister for Economic Development, Professor Adedeji, and our Foreign Minister, Dr. Arikpo, the two of them to work together to make sure that we have this scheme going on. And so they set up themselves and their officials, external affairs, with all their ambassadors throughout the region. And I think many of them, probably many of you are probably here at that time. How many people were there as official of external affairs at that time? Anyone? Yes? Now you can see them. And they were the ones that worked together to plan what we're going to discuss and agree upon. So that was how it really started. And immediately, after the Civil War, we started this round of meeting with one another. And I can assure you, we were having a very good, good meeting at every stage. Some agreeing to it, some not agreeing to it. I think, as you heard earlier on, I think the French-speaking countries, especially Senegal and Ivory Coast at that time, weren't quite happy with, with that idea. And so they started their own scheme, and they wanted all of us to join their scheme. I think their scheme is WAEC, West African, like West African Examination Council. Now, that was the original name that we wanted the community name to be. But when they said they've established their WAEC, their West African Economic Community, French-speaking, and that we should follow, well, we said, well, it's all right. If that's the case, they can have it. But then I know that WAEC is the West African Examination Council name. And so I said, no, well, certainly we've got to find a new name for our own organization. And that was how ECOWAS came into being, Economic Community of West African States. And that was what we championed right through. And gradually, this was accepted by most of the countries, even including Senegal and Ivory Coast. And so on the 28th of May, 75, yes, we met at the Federal Palace Hotel. That was when we met. And amazingly enough, all the countries from West Africa attended that meeting. And one interesting thing that happened after the meeting, we've agreed and we were having a reception at top Federal Palace Hotel. Yes, I remembered in the evening, it was late in the evening, and when you look seaward, you see everywhere light, etc. And President Houphouët-Boigny said to me, my brother, what part of Lagos is this? So I said to him, my brother, it is not part of Lagos. These are ships waiting to berth. And he said, my brother, all this you alone? And so I said to him, yes. So he said, why don't you send some of them back to us? And then we can send them by road, to Lagos. So I said to him, my brother, that is the reason why we want ECOWAS to start. So that at least we can send those ships to you. We should be able to build roads or rail or whatever it is that can also enable you to bring those goods to us, to Lagos. I can assure you it was a very happy occasion indeed that even President Houphouët-Boigny will come himself. Certainly that made the day for us. Now, so that was how ECOWAS itself was done. And I had, as I've said, Professor Bayo Adedeji, an exceptionally brilliant academic as well. And he led the team of Economic Development and also Ministry of External Affairs, to produce documents that made it possible for us, to get on. I think they have with them in Togo. I think we have Edem Kojo, Edem Kojo as the person that President Dema also entrusted with that responsibility. And so between the two of them, they made constant contact and meetings with all the various leaders, of the countries in West Africa. And they produced, for us, such a brilliant, a good paper that all the heads of states, when we met, certainly had no problem to agree. And I think you've had already comments from, is it Prince, is it Adewale? Yes, and of course you've had, from, of course, our titan here, Professor Akinyemi, those who really followed, the trajectory of our effort to have a successful, ECOWAS. And of course, the idea also was as a result at that time around the world, there were a few organizations such as the EEC, that was there trying to form this grouping in order to enhance the projection of of Europe, and as we had from the Consul General of Germany, a moment ago. Now, the effort of all of us, although we're English-speaking and French-speaking, the problem is not only that. Some of us were military, and then some were democratic governments, democratic government with different ideologies, socialist, conservative, or whatever. But I can assure you we subsume all our different ideologies and interests, and just to concentrate on the interests, of the community, of ECOWAS. And yes, the military is not that they want to force military organization or interest on the others, and no one come and try to force their own particular interest, but the interest was that of West Africa, how we can improve the prospect, of economy or government or whatever to the community, and not ourselves. So that was the way we were looking at it. Now, but as you heard, a few months after, we got from an ECOWAS, started. Of course, I had to leave. I have to leave the office, or as we always say in the military, I was giving my marching orders out. And well, I happily accepted it, and also wish the government of the day all the best. And they can rest assured that I will be supporting all the efforts that they are making for the country as well as for ECOWAS. That was what happened. And I concentrated, on my studies, as a student, but only to hear later on that I was targeted as the brain behind the overthrow and death of my successor. Honestly, well, probably God knows why. That is why I'm still living today, so that you can see me and to know from me that my heart certainly, I had no hand whatsoever about what had happened, and to be accused of not only treason. My goodness. Well, I think it is another story. But my joy is that when the coup took place, my colleague Oyedema made sure that he made a frantic visit to this country to see the new leadership and to plead with them to be able to continue in ECOWAS. And there was also all the call from all the countries of the of the region that ECOWAS should continue, and the personal relationship, myself and Oyedema, should not be the criterion to question the continuation, of ECOWAS, because when I had at one stage, yes, there was, in fact, an attempt to probably question that ECOWAS, that relationship between me and Oyedema. Thank God that was overcome by Oyedema's personal visit to this country and the call from all, the leadership, that yes, ECOWAS should continue, and in fact, gave that leadership, gave them more or less the authority to lead, the occasion, and must give them credit. Yes, they certainly did, and also all the other states gave them cooperation, and ECOWAS was continued as the success it is. And ECOWAS made sure that they also not only deal with matters of economy. When security problem in Liberia and Sierra Leone, Liberia to start off with, became so serious, when the country was being virtually questioned, and being destroyed by young Doe, certainly, I think the leadership from Nigeria, I think, and also and Ghana, I understand, they were the ones who made sure that at least the threat to that country certainly was stopped and put right. The same thing with, in fact, next door neighbor, Sierra Leone. And so, all the proposal, initial protocols and agreement that, things that we thought ECOWAS should do, mainly, on economy. But when that country, those two countries were threatened individually, and it has to be put right so that they can continue their cooperation with the rest of the countries of ECOWAS. Yes, those leadership did something. And I think, can you hear me? Are you one of the foot soldiers also? So, well done. So there you are. In order to put things right in Liberia, and also Liberia and Sierra Leone. So, the ECOWAS continued to do, well in ensuring not only economic development, etc., but also to ensure peace and security among the the states, so that they can be able to improve the well-being of their of their people. So this was what happened after the Lagos Treaty, after the Lagos Treaty setting up ECOWAS. And let us give credit to all the leadership right the way through. But I can assure you, I've been either in contact with various countries, or my interest in ECOWAS. And so when I finished my first degree, and since I could not come back to Nigeria, I had to sort of say, well, I've got to do something, since I cannot do any work there. So I registered for a PhD course, and the subject that I chose, now don't question the reason why I chose it. Well, that is the one that I wanted to do something about. And of course, if anything at all, I think I must have passed. I must have been given a pass for that course, because of originality. Originality. So that was how it happened. But the interest in ECOWAS, of course, continued, and also personal support that I received from a number of members of ECOWAS leadership when I was in exile. Well, all that I can say is that thank you, and thank you, ECOWAS. Now, in the last few years, of course, we've been having some certain problem in ECOWAS. I think this had been mentioned especially by the Consul General of Germany just a moment ago. Yes, there is this security problem that we're having. And recently, of course, 3 members, from an ECOWAS community decided, to opt out, of the community for reasons that from the community were imposing harsh sanction on them instead of supporting them, and they were not helping, helping those countries to achieve their goal, and decided to seek another way out by having cooperation with is it the Soviet Union that we call it today, or is it Russia that we call it? Now, that was sad, because we had thought we had finished with people leaving ECOWAS. But unfortunately, these 3 Sahel countries, Mali, Upper Volta, and Niger, they left for the community, which is very, very sad. Yes, my relationship with their forefathers, or their older fathers, Taure, Lamizana, and of course Hamani Diori, that relationship was so good, that honestly, one never thought that anything like that would happen. But it did. It has now, happened. and it is sad, that it has happened. But I do not lose hope that ECOWAS is not ECOWAS anymore. Yes, ECOWAS has lost 3 members, but that is only 3 out of the 12, 3 out of the 15. 3 out of the 15. And so ECOWAS is still ECOWAS, even though slightly truncated. But who said that things cannot change again in the future as it has changed now? So there we are. I'm not afraid. But the only thing that at that time that I commented about when ECOWAS wanted to fight those 3 countries. So it is very different from those individual countries that ECOWAS dealt with at that time. They were only dealing with those countries individually, just to put their country right. Put their country right. But this time, ECOWAS is going to fight a group of another ECOWAS countries. And, I have my feeling that the effort that we are trying to do is that we're trying to convince and to win every country to follow a path that we can be able to live peacefully and together. So an ECOWAS group of countries fighting a group of countries, very different from the original countries that we have, Liberia and Sierra Leone. And instead of really working on them to convince them to try and do and put things right, between us, which is the sort of style that we adopted during our time. We are different sort of in the government, military, socialist or conservative or whatever form it is. But all of us were looking towards being convinced that probably democracy was the best way of doing it. Even the military have to behave in a democratic way right the way through. That is what we did, except my apologies to the politicians. We did not allow them to operate freely. But every action of ours was democratic in the sense, in the true sense of it. So this is what I thought we should be able to do with these countries, to try and gradually woo them back. And I think what I heard from the chairman a moment ago, whispered to the Director General that I don't know, it seems as though he is reading my mind, that we hope we will do everything possible to woo them back, from that. And all the actions that are being taken, all the various diplomatic visits that are being done between between the community leadership and and them. I hope it will bring back, it will bring the sort of result that that we wanted. I believe myself that what our government is doing and what the President of Ghana is doing at the moment, I'm sure it will soon probably bring the desired result, and that ECOWAS itself will soon see happy days. Now, I said, I'm saying that although we are reluctant to let them go as they decided, it is commendable of the Commission still leaving the doors of the stable open and also giving the group the opportunity to be joint partners, of ECOWAS. And if that happens, yes, ECOWAS hasn't got to change its name, ECOWAS, just alone. I believe all that you need to do, the idea of trying to get various African countries or group, to move together, if they can give room for that group to be able to return to ECOWAS. And all that you need to do is to add another S after ECOWAS. So it will be Economic Community of West African States, and, of course, you don't put the and S, Sahel. So that will be a new name. So that is the sort of thing, I have great hope. And honestly, one want to appreciate, I think, especially most of you who are here, who had played a role at one time or the other, to try to get from the ECOWAS to be the success it has been. And I think easily the most successful regional organization within Africa. I think it can compare itself with what EU is now. But of course, it is interesting to hear about the problems that they have in EU. Well, at least we are having our own problem as well. But one thing I want to sort of assure you, we appreciate the role that the Adenauer group, I think just let me call it CARS, so that I do not mess up the pronunciation. We appreciate the role that you are doing, and I think the other group is KIS, is it? KIS, yes. So that there we are CARS and KIS. But let me just divert a little bit, just to tell you a little story. When we were young, there was a young boy who wanted to say that yes, he understands English, and that if you ask him the name of anything, he will say he knows how to pronounce it. And so this time, we asked him to say the name of fowl in Hausa, in a Kaza. So he's always said, yes, oh yes, he knows it. I said, what is it? So he said, cars. So don't you worry. Yes. Honestly, we appreciate your help and your understanding, and the fear of we say Russian, well, as you put it, Putin. Yes, during our time, yes, there is that fear as well. There was all that sort of in fear. But of course, the policy that we adopted in Nigeria, at least at that time, do not have any permanent enemy or permanent friend, but have permanent interest. And so that is the way we try to look at those problems and to ensure that we are able to find some solution to some of those problems. Because during our time, yes, we had a lot of support from there for certain weaponry, etc. And we had also from the other side, from the west side, the problem of difficulty in having some of the equipment and what we needed at that time, but we could only get it from the other side. But we do not allow to create any bad blood between to allow anything like that to affect our interests. You can rest assured that we'll make sure that certainly those groups do not allow us or to influence our relationship with those countries, and allowing anything bad to happen. But we take note so that we ensure that they do not create any problems for us. But we appreciate your support very, very much indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've got, unless if there is any other question that you want to ask, I hope at least you've gotten the background of ECOWAS as it is yesterday, in between, and today, and of course tomorrow. So thank you all very much indeed for coming and for the support to this. And let us say thank you very much indeed, Director General, for the good work you are doing and this beautiful hall. Are you sure that it is not here that we signed the document, is it? Was it here? Yeah? It was? Yeah? It is the foyer. Yeah, I see. Okay, fine. But however, excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
You may be seated, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my dear former chairman of the Governing Council of the NIA. You have expressed the gratitude of an appreciative nation to Baba. I'd like to inform you respectfully, sir, and with the kind permission of the chairman, that the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs actually has a tradition by which such gratitude are expressed. So with the kind permission of the chairman, may I respectfully request this gathering, led of course by all the staff of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, to please be upstanding. All staff of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, please be upstanding. Thank you very much. And our families and friends in the house may join if they so wish. Baba, sir, for all that you have done for this country, this institute recognizes and appreciates you. And we proceed to give you our iconoclastic round of applause that will proceed without sitting. Thank you very much. That applause could be louder. You have the gratitude of this country and of this institute. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord let his countenance be upon you and give you peace. That applause could continue and be louder. You have the gratitude of the NIA. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies here present, the thoughts that have been shared with us by Baba, the library of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs has attempted to capture it in pictures. Please, after the group photograph, proceed to the front of the library and feast on the exhibition that the library and the documentation services of the Institute has put in place. Yes, Your Excellency. Yes. Yes, Your Excellency. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite our landlord for just a few minutes before His Excellency takes off. Your Excellency, we have not heard from our landlord, the governor, the executive governor of Lagos State. Please, Ma, could you take the podium for a few minutes and share the thought of His Excellency with us? Thank you very much. Your Excellency, ma'am.
Your Excellency, sir, the Baba of Nigeria, General Yakubu Gowon, GCFR, the former head of state and former commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I acknowledge you, sir. His Excellency, Major General Ikenwachukwu, retired, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, the Chairman, Government Council of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. There's a list here, and I know our time is, may I respectfully stand on existing protocol, please. Everybody here is extremely important. I would first start by apologizing on behalf of, thank you, Mr. Governor Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the Executive Governor of Lagos State. I am here to read his remarks on this occasion. He actually wanted to be here, but for other extremely important state matters such as this, he had asked that I come in to do this. My name is Bimbola Salu Hundein, and I am the Secretary to the Government of Lagos State. I thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Once again, I appreciate every distinguished member that I've seen here. I've seen so many. I've seen Her Royal Highness. I've seen all our former DGs, professors, so many, very, very many. The CGs here. Please let me stand on this existing protocol. And I go straight to Mr. Governor's speech. It is a distinct honor and a great privilege to stand before eminent personalities here today on this momentous occasion marking the 50th anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. I commend the Nigeria Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, along with our esteemed international partners, KAS and GIZ, for organizing this vital conference that brings us together to reflect and chart the future of our region. The partnership between Lagos State and NIIA is one grounded in mutual respect and a shared vision to advance Nigeria's foreign policy and regional integration objectives. As the governor of this great state, my administration has prioritized supporting NIIA's initiatives, recognizing the Institute's critical role in shaping Nigeria's diplomatic discourse and influencing policy that benefits not only our state, but the entire West African region. I recall with nostalgia and pride that it was here in Lagos, our Lagos, your Lagos, a vibrant city known for its resilience and creativity. Lagos, the pride of Africa, and the third largest economy in West Africa. This Lagos it was, on this same day, the 20th day of May today, that the historic ECOWAS Treaty was birthed and signed 50 years ago. Thank you very much. Please be happy for Lagos State. And clap for us. Thank you. We set the pace all the time. Thank you. That landmark event marked the beginning of a bold, audacious, and strategic journey towards economic integration, peace, and cooperation among ECOWAS member states. Over the past 5 decades, ECOWAS has made significant strides, promoting economic integration, facilitating the free movement of people and goods, and playing a vital role in peacekeeping efforts. Despite all the challenges over the years, ECOWAS has remained resilient, relevant, and dignified in its pursuit of economic integration and upward growth of the West African region. Yet, we must acknowledge the challenges that persist and the evolving dynamics that require our collective attention. The proposed introduction of a single currency, the ECO, alongside new regional initiatives, present both opportunities and complexities. These developments demand our continued collaboration, innovation, and unwavering commitment. I reaffirm, on behalf of the good people of Lagos State, our dedication as a government to supporting NIIA's mission by investing in its capacity, thank you, providing resources and infrastructure that enhance its research and policy analysis capabilities. Our collaboration has already yielded impactful insights that inform policies promoting regional unity and development. I believe that by leveraging on our collective strengths and addressing our shared challenges, we can build a strong, prosperous, and integrated West Africa. I thank the NIIA, the DG, Professor Egosa Osage, and His Excellency, the conference chairperson, former Honorable Minister of External Affairs, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, and their dedicated staff for putting this together to mark this historic event. I express my profound appreciation to His Excellency, the founder of ECOWAS, our Baba Nigeria, who through his mantra spoke words of unity into the destiny of our dear country, Nigeria. As he said thus, to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. And today, Nigeria still stands as one united country under the able leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, embracing a renewed sense of hope and innovation. Surely, the labor of our forefathers like Baba, General Godwin, here has not been in vain. In conclusion, I look forward to the fruitful outcomes of this important conference and to more collaborations and the strengthening of our commitment to the ideals that have guided ECOWAS for the past 50 years. And so, with peace and plenty, ECOWAS may be blessed. Thank you for listening.
A round of applause for His Excellency. May I invite Dr. Tolai Ilesami to coordinate the next session for the children. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Please permit me to stand on the protocols that has already been established here today. So for this session, we're having the youth debates. And the youth debate provides the platform not only to hear the voices of the next generation, but for them to contribute to the shaping of the future of ECOWAS that we so desire. And so this afternoon, we have 4 schools representatives to debate for and against the motion that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the visions of its founding fathers. And so, welcome to the center stage, the lead speaker for the motion that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of the founding fathers. Join me to welcome Ms. Chinomso Okora from Holy Child. A round of applause for her, please. To the center stage, please. I also want to call on the lead speaker speaking against the motion. The lead speaker speaking against the motion that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the visions of the founding fathers. Please join me to welcome Ms. Chidera Ungu from Holy Child, please. A round of applause for her, please. Please let us usher in the future students. Thank you very much. I also want to introduce the second speaker, speaking for the motion that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the visions of his founding father, Master Rema Ugwede from King's College, Lagos. A round of applause for him, please. To the center stage, please. And finally, and the last and definitely not the least, is the second speaker speaking against the motion that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of the founding fathers, Master Matthew Ogundikwe from Methodist Boys High School. A round of applause for him, please. Quickly, I'd like to set the ground rules. Each lead speaker has 5 minutes to present their opening statements on the motion, after which the supporting speakers, the second speakers, will speak for 3 minutes, providing their supporting arguments. And then finally, the lead speakers will come back to present their closing statements and will speak for 2 minutes each. And to round up, in place of a panel of judges, we have a renowned scholar and professor of international relations, Professor Alade Fawole, who will give us the concluding remarks for the youth debates. Can we put our hands together for our students? So at this point, I'd like to invite the lead speaker to speak for the motion that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the visions of its founding fathers. Ms. Chinomso Korafo, please come to can we put our hands together to encourage her, please? No. Okay, thank you very much. You have the floor for 5 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we really say that a man who has attained 50 years of age has not fulfilled his visions or dreams? No, I don't think so. In that same sense, we cannot say that ECOWAS, as his 50 years of existence, has not fulfilled the dreams of his founding fathers. Good day, distinguished ladies and gentlemen and dignitaries. I'm Okorafor Chinonso from Holy Child College, and I'm here to vehemently support the motion which says ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. The Economic Community of West African States was established on 28 May 1975 under the treaty signed in Lagos. The founding fathers of ECOWAS are General Yakubu Gowon and General Ayadema. ECOWAS' core vision was to promote economic integration, regional peace, and political stability among its member states. ECOWAS also had the aim of promoting a peaceful, unified, and economically prosperous West Africa, one in which its member states collaborated in trade, movement of goods and services, and mutual defense. As ECOWAS celebrates its 50th anniversary, it is important that we reflect on the progresses of this organization so far. Firstly, ECOWAS has done a remarkable job in promoting economic integration and free movement of goods and services among its member states, which was one of the core visions of its founding fathers. The implementation of this protocol has allowed member states to move to each other's states without the use of visas, rather with the use of ECOWAS passports or biometric ID cards. The ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme has also helped in trade by removing tariffs and barriers at border gates. Though full economic union is still a work in progress, the strides so far prove that ECOWAS is truly on the path envisioned by the founding fathers in 1975. Furthermore, ECOWAS has also played a crucial role in promoting peace and political stability among its member states. ECOWAS has been able to achieve this through its peacekeeping arm, ECOMOG, the ECOWAS Monitoring Group. ECOMOG has intervened in countries like Liberia and Sierra Leone facing wars. ECOWAS has also mediated peaceful political transitions in the Gambia in 2017, and it has also responded to military coups in countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Guinea. These responses that ECOWAS has made to these events shows that ECOWAS has truly lived up to its peacekeeping responsibilities. In addition, ECOWAS has also made core achievements in regional infrastructure and development among its member states. ECOWAS has been able to achieve this with projects like the Trans-West African Highway and West African Power Pool, which is aimed at promoting connectivity and energy among member states. ECOWAS has also helped in digital trade, e-governance, and communication among its member states through ECOWAN, ECOWAS's regional backbone infrastructure. Lastly, ECOWAS has responded positively to the humanitarian needs of its member nations. ECOWAS has been able to achieve this through the establishment of the Regional Humanitarian Emergency Funds, which is aimed at promoting a quick and coordinated response to disasters, and it has also collaborated with international organizations such as the United Nations Human Rights Council to support those who have been displaced by violence or disasters. In conclusion, while it is true that ECOWAS still faces challenges such as some political instabilities and recurring coups, the achievements of these organizations are undeniable and worthy of recognition. ECOWAS is not a perfect organization, rather it is a visionary to the legacy of its founding fathers, as it's a beacon of hope for a better West Africa. Therefore, I firmly stand by the motion which says ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. I'd like to invite the lead speaker to speak against the motion that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the visions of its founding fathers, Ms. Chidera Ungo. A round of applause for her, please.
The topic before us today says that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of the founding fathers. But let's think about this critically. Nigeria, who is currently 64 years old and the supposed giants of Africa, and also an ECOWAS member state, is still grappling with issues of poverty, hunger, insecurity, and so many more. So, if Nigeria at 64 is still struggling with so many issues, how then can we say ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers? Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and my co-debaters. I am Ungo Chidera from Holy Child College, and I rise to speak against the motion that says ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. There is no doubt that ECOWAS has made some progress, but after a critical assessment, I am here to prove to you today that ECOWAS has fallen short of fully realizing the vision its founders envisioned in 1975. First of all, what is ECOWAS all about? ECOWAS stands for Economic Community of West African States. It was established on May 28, 1975, and its key founders were General Yakubu Gowon of Nigeria and General Yademi of Togo. Its founding fathers aimed to create a regional integrated, politically stable, and peaceful West Africa where citizens could move freely, trade across all borders, and benefit from shared development. Despite all the efforts, there has been some lapses. Firstly, ECOWAS has not fulfilled the objective of promoting regional trade and transactions. Despite efforts like the ECOWAS Trade Realization Scheme and Common External Tariff, international trade has reached less than 15%, far below potential. Low international trade limits economic growth, hinders development, and increases vulnerability to external shocks. In addition, ECOWAS has the objective of limiting obstacles to the free movement of people, goods, and capital. You all can agree with me there are still many incidents of border closures and harassment. In fact, in August 2019, Nigeria, an ECOWAS member state, closed its borders to address the issue of smuggling in rice and chicken from Benin Republic and other ECOWAS member states. This closed border affected trade negatively, especially for small-scale businessmen and women who depended on cross-border trade activities. Some time ago, Ghana excluded non-Ghanaians from partaking in petty trading. This is an infringement in ECOWAS policy, law, and objectives, which even shows lack of cooperation within its member states. Furthermore, in early 2020, Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Niger experienced military coup, undermining democratic values. ECOWAS responses to this military coup have often been too inconsistent. It is either too weak to deter unconstitutional changes, or it is too harsh, which has triggered member states' withdrawal. In 2024, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger announced their withdrawal from ECOWAS, accusing ECOWAS of doing too little to help them combat attacks against jihadists, and also accusing ECOWAS of being influenced by foreign powers, especially France. In conclusion, while ECOWAS has made some notable contributions to regional dialogue and peacekeeping successes in West Africa, its core objectives, regional integration, political stability, free movement, and social development remain yet to be fully realized or consistently applied. At 50, ECOWAS is a work in progress, not a fulfilled dream. Thus, it is inaccurate and premature to say ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Chidera. Now I'll call the second speaker to provide his supporting statements that ECOWAS as 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. Master Rema Ogwede, King's College, Lagos. A round of applause. You have 3 minutes.
The progress of the Economic Community of West African States isn't just about policies. It's about real change, better trade, peace, and development. Imagine a West Africa where borders are no longer barriers but bridges. This is the reality that ECOWAS has been building over the years. Good day to the Honorable Chairman, distinguished guests, members of the staffs of the NIIA. I am Ogwede Rema, representing King's College, and today I stand to affirm that ECOWAS at its 50th anniversary has largely fulfilled the visions of their founding fathers. Established in 1975, ECOWAS aimed at promoting regional integration, economic stability, political stability, as well as political unity in West African nations. Over the past 5 decades, significant strides have been made towards these visions. According to the World Bank, the continued GDP of ECOWAS member states have increased from approximately $56 billion in 2000 to about $631 billion in 2022, representing over an 11-fold increase. The implementation of the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme in 1979 has facilitated intra-regional trade, which grew from $11 billion in 2010 to approximately $25 billion in 2022. These figures demonstrate tangible progress towards economic cooperation envisioned by the founders. The ETLS has contributed to job creation in trade-related sectors, with estimates suggesting that thousands of small and medium enterprises have benefited from easier access to regional markets. This scheme has led to the diversification of exports, with non-oil products like agricultural goods, textiles, and manufactured items gaining prominence in regional trade. ECOWAS also established the ECOWAS Common External Tariff in the year 2015, which has harmonized tariff rates for most goods, facilitating a more predictable trade environment, increasing trade volumes within the region substantially by over 150% since inception. The CET also modernized custom procedures, boosting revenue and efficiency. These implementations have pivoted the vision of regional economic integration. Amongst others, we still have the West Africa Power Pool (WAP) established on the 5th of December 1999. The WAP has increased electricity trade from less than 1 gigawatt in 2010 to over 5 gigawatts in 2022, boosting the regional GDP by enabling industries to operate more reliably and cheaply, reducing power costs by up to 30% in some countries. In conclusion, ECOWAS has demonstrated a strong commitment to realizing their founding fathers' dream of a unified, prosperous, and peaceful West Africa, affirming that it has indeed fulfilled their visionary objectives over the past 5 decades. Thank you, and happy Golden Jubilee.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. I'd like to call on the second speaker to speak against the motion, Master Matthew Ogundipe, Methodist Boys High School. A round of applause for him, please.
Good day, everyone.
3 minutes, please. 3 minutes.
Good day, everyone. All protocols duly observed. My name is Matthew Ogundipe, and I'm a student from Methodist Boys High School. Today, I stand before you to strongly oppose the motion which states that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the visions of the founding fathers. ECOWAS is a West African organization which aims towards the betterment of West African states. Significant progress has been made by ECOWAS at achieving the dreams of their forefathers, but the plain truth is that ECOWAS has failed at fully delivering the grand visions laid out by the founding fathers in 1975. Today, I'm going to be talking about some core visions so as to show how ECOWAS has fallen short. Firstly, we have economic integration. Economic integration still stands as a mirage to date. Our forefathers dreamt of a single and integrated economic space, but in practice, intra-ECOWAS trade still remains less than 15%, according to the African Development Bank, while that of the European Union reaches around 60% within its own bloc. Also, in 2023, the Nigeria to Benin Republic border was closed due to smuggling. This kind of event can disrupt events like trade and livelihood between the West African regions. If ECOWAS cannot handle stable trade within West African regions, what happened to the unified economy that our forefathers dreamt of? Moreover, another area I'd love to dive into is peace and security. Insecurity in West Africa have left many regions in crisis. ECOWAS was meant to be a force for peace and stability, but yet West Africa is regarded to be an unstable region. From 2020 to 2023, frequent coups occurred in African states like Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. This then caused the countries to withdraw from ECOWAS, revealing the organization's inability to resolve internal conflicts. Also, the jihadist terrorism in the Sahel has displaced many people, leading to the loss of thousands of lives. This is not the peaceful region that our forefathers envisioned. Furthermore, I would like to talk about the free movement of people within the West African region. The ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement will allow visa-free travels, residency, and employment across the regions. But on ground, the borders still remain hostile. Case of study, in 2021, due to COVID-19, the Ivory Coast to Ghana border was closed. But after the COVID-19, the reopening was delayed due to bureaucracy and fear. So anytime traders wanted to travel across, they often face deportation or harassment from security officers. So yes, ECOWAS has a passport to allow transportation, but it does not safeguard the dignity and safety of ordinary citizens. Lastly, I'd like to talk about weakened institutions and enforcement of powerless laws. ECOWAS has created institutions like the ECOWAS Court of Justice and the ECOWAS Parliament, but their effect remains minimal. We had a situation where the ECOWAS Court of Justice ruled in favor of a Nigerian journalist, Agbajalingo, for a freedom of expression case, therefore causing Nigeria the need to compensate him. But Nigeria ignored this ruling, and they did not face any consequences. Then the ECOWAS Parliament also, it lacks legislative power. It rather seems to be symbolic than functional. This is a far cry from a strong regional governance body, In conclusion, ECOWAS is not where it should be. But let's not confuse effort with success. ECOWAS has made significant progress in achieving the dreams of their forefathers, but I strongly disagree with the motion that states that ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the visions of our founding fathers. Thank you.
A round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we'll bring in the lead speakers to give us their closing statements, starting with Ms. Chinomso Korafor. Your closing statement for 2 minutes, please.
Good day once again, ladies and gentlemen and dignitaries. I still remain Okorafor Chinonso, and I'm here to give a concluding remark while still supporting the motion which says ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. While my opposing side has highlighted the challenges that ECOWAS faces, such as recurring coups and some political instabilities, we must not forget to note that the core visions of the founding fathers, which is economic integration, regional peace, and political stability, have been significantly recognized, from facilitating visa-free movement among member states and ECOWAS's intervention in countries facing war like Liberia, Sierra Leone, and the Gambia. ECOWAS has also helped to deepen cooperation and foster economic integration among its member states. ECOWAS has also had the aim of building a unified single currency, the ECO currency, which shows ECOWAS' aim to deepen cooperation among its member states. Let's not forget that ECOWAS is still seen as the leading voice by the African Union and the United Nations. This is because it has crossed across Lusophone countries, Anglophone countries, and the Francophone countries, thereby promoting unity across cultural diverse backgrounds. ECOWAS has achieved so much at 50 years, and yes, it is true that it faces a lot of challenges, but which organization does not face challenges? ECOWAS is just 50, and I believe that ECOWAS at 60, 70 would have achieved more than it has achieved today. So yes, I solidly stand by the motion which says ECOWAS at 50 has truly fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. Thank you. Standing on existing protocol, I remain Ungu Chidera, and I rise to speak against the motion that says ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. As we close this critical debate, let's be reminded of the core objectives of the founding fathers, which are political stability, economical integration, and so many more in West Africa. Yet today, 50 years on, these visions still remain largely unfulfilled. My partner and I have shown that political instability continues to plague the region, with recent coups in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. ECOWAS responses to these have been too weak or too harsh. Now, my opponent also mentioned the so-called ECOWAS unified currency, the ECO currency. But let me tell you that this ECO currency has been delayed for several years, since 2003, due to some financial crisis and political instability in its member states. Ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 50 years should not be mistaken for fulfilling 50 years of promises. Longevity is not success. Therefore, we, the opposition, stand firm against the motion that says ECOWAS at 50 has fulfilled the vision of its founding fathers. Thank you.
So at this point, in place of the panel of judges, I'd like to call upon a renowned scholar and professor of international relations, Professor Alade Fawale, to give us the concluding remarks for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Yes.
Standing on existing protocols, as everybody has said. Now, having listened to the young folks, believe me, those of us who are going to present papers today and tomorrow have a problem. And one of the problems is this. We are going to find ourselves repeating and regurgitating what these young fellows have said. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Now, they have done very brilliant analysis for us, and I don't have anything to add to what they have said or subtract from what they have said. However, I just want to make one or two comments. Number one, I think there is a common trend, a thread in all the discussions, and that is the fact that ECOWAS is fundamentally a work in progress. It's not a finished project, and therefore, it will have ups and downs, but it can continue to achieve the set objectives. Now, the thing is that a final verdict cannot be rendered on the total performance of ECOWAS. The verdict that we can render will be to take a look at 50 years and see what ECOWAS has done, what it has done well, what it has gotten right, what are the challenges that it has. And then we'll be able to, project going forward. Now, ECOWAS has, in my view, 3 basic challenges, and it's not the problems that they talk about. I just want to do this from a purely analytical point of view. Number 1, the biggest challenge of ECOWAS and any international organization is what we can call state sovereignty. Members are nation states. Nation states are sovereign, not subject to any external superior. So in dealing with nation states, organizations have to be very careful. And organizations are as strong and as powerful, as vibrant as the sovereign member states allow them to be. That is the first thing that I need us to understand. Number 2 is that ECOWAS in particular is really not a supranational organization like the EU. That is a supranational organization whose decisions are law and enforceable, and then they have consequences for non-compliance. EU has that. There are some other organizations, but ECOWAS is initiated at this stage, in my view, it's like a family affair. It is not supranational, and therefore, its decisions cannot be enforced. You cannot use military force. You can use sanctions, but the reality of contemporary world is that sanctions are actually counterproductive. They don't work. Nation states simply go around them. Nation states people in such nation states that are sanctioned simply rally around, around the flag. They rally around their governments. Nationalism takes over. And that is something that we have to consider going forward in ECOWAS. The third challenge, part of what ECOWAS is actually experiencing now, is that there are great geopolitical shifts in the world. There are geopolitical alignments and realignments. New powers are rising, old powers are being shoved aside and things like that. And ECOWAS cannot but be affected. The states in ECOWAS cannot but be affected. Going forward, we have, from your discussions, identified some of the challenges that ECOWAS is going through. What must we do? Nobody has a magic bullet, a silver bullet for it. We can make suggestions. One of my suggestions is that whatever it is, ECOWAS require tact, diplomacy, and statesmanship. And in one of in a newspaper article that I wrote in October 2023 titled Rescue ECOWAS from Obsolescence, one of the suggestions I made is the fact that we West African leaders need to go beyond politics and constitute a large intra-West African think tank. Scholars, diplomats, diplomatists, politicians, eminent people to sit together and study holistically what is going on in West Africa, what is going on in the world, how we can reset things. And one of the names that I suggested, and in that article I did apologize for not consulting him, is Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. I said, as I was writing the article, one of those names that I think should be part of this huge intra-West African discussion group will be a Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. So West African leaders need to come down a little bit from their high horse and look towards people that can help them. It's not just going to be a political negotiations between them alone. We're now talking of not just ECOWAS of states, but ECOWAS of people. So people should be involved. And I know that ECOWAS will make progress. Why? Look, even nation states have life after death. International organizations also have life after death. If you look at history, Germany was destroyed in World War I. It came back strongly. 20 years later, it caused the Second World War. Japan and Germany were destroyed during the Second World War. They came back stronger, okay? So there is life after death for nation states as well as for international organizations. So ECOWAS will survive. I thank you for your attention.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Prof, it all sounds like fresh palm wine, all sweetness, but we were waiting for the substance. I am sure everybody was going to ask Prof, so who won? But he has said that it's going to be work in progress and that the contestation continues. I am sure if the students of Covenant University, Trinity University, University of Lagos, and Lagos State University were to take the floor in another round of debate, we would perhaps have even more exciting issues to trash. But these schools will have to wait their turn another day. They are team leaders, and here I recognize Professor Lanre Amodo will also have to wait and take their turn another day. But for today, we want to thank these very brilliant students from the secondary schools that we have received today. With your performance, we are sure that the golden era of diplomacy that the likes of His Excellency Akinyemi represented will still come back to us because you have such firm grip of multilateral diplomacy. Thank you very much for your time and for your presence, and God bless you, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. You may step down, as it were. Thank you very much. Please come forward where are photographers? This is a historic moment. Where are photographers? Come up stage and take pictures with I feel very jealous. I never had this kind of privilege during my time. With the kind permission of the DG, I think we will repeat this session again outside, because there will be an order of photography outside. There will be an exhibition. In fact, there's already an exhibition by the Library and Documentation Services Department of the NIA. Please feel free to approach the exhibition stands and reconnect with what His Excellency General Yakubu Gowon shared with us today in picture forms. Yes. The order of photography I've announced will be outside, and then there will be tea. The ushers will direct us according to how to move. That is the information for now. May I ask the permission of the chairman to call the session to a close with the national anthems of the Economic Community of West African States and that of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. May we be upstanding, please. Thank you very much.
Story.
Thank you very much. The order of photography is outside, and tea immediately thereafter. Thank you very much. May I respectfully request that we wait for the dignitaries to please exit, please. Please kindly wait for the dignitaries to please exit. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, immediately after the tea break, the first session